After a short stint at Homestead Miami Raceway to kick off the season, round number 2 is already just about to kick off here for the Indy Elite Series, heading to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. From some of the high banks of Miami down to a much lower banking for a lot of these drivers, essentially a short track for an Indy car. It's a new challenge for the drivers on the circuit for round number 2. My name is Finity Kuna here with Connor Horn. Connor, glad to be with you as always for some IndyCar action.
Yeah, definitely excited to be here. Gateway is a pretty fun track in these cars. It's really fun in any car you do, but it's a very unique track no matter what vehicle you're in. And these Indy cars, it's tough for them to tackle, especially with a pretty hot and slick track like we got today. We've ran this race at the night in seasons past, but today a little bit earlier in the day, so it should be pretty interesting.
Should definitely be interesting here as qualifying is just getting underway for these drivers as they head into the track. And, we talk about qualifying at some tracks a lot more important than the others. Definitely, I would say, for this track, very important for some of the drivers. Even at Homestead, we saw it be at a point, which we thought, there'd be a little bit more passing, and some people were able to move up the grid, but it definitely took a lot of work. Here, you're definitely going to need to qualify well.
Yeah, almost certainly you're going to need to qualify well to get through the feet, to stay up at the front and get to the front. It's going to be very tough for drivers who qualify 20th on back to make any sort of inroads without a bunch of yellows. We don't want to see a bunch of yellows. So those drivers who started in the top 10, I would think majority of them are going to finish up there. It's just that tough to gain track position at a track like this. These restarts and the initial start especially are going to be the craziest parts of the race. That's where everyone's going to be trying their hardest to get all the positions.
Definitely so here as we end up in the warm-up session here, taking a look at the number 9 of Brandon Traino. Of course, last week's winner, he made it look extremely easy, and I didn't get a chance to see actually where he ended up in qualifying, but my guess is going to be that he's up near the top.
Up in third in qualifying, did not get the pole this week, so if he wants to go back-to-back, he'll have a little bit of work to do, but still in the top 3. Obviously a great qualifying effort, a full 10th off of our pole sitter. But he's going to look to go 2 in a row and extend an early points lead. Akaboise's up there as well. Christian Steele, Mark Murphy, David Adams. A lot of those drivers are going to be hungry to be very aggressive today, going for the race victory. Like we said, this initial start's going to be pretty important. Drivers are going to be trying to get everything they can. I expect at least one instance of 3 wide, maybe more.
Yeah, we saw, unfortunately, Hamilton Akaboise just could not get it done at Homestead. He ran really well, had the speed, but that error coming on a pit road cost him the race, essentially, or any chance he had at winning that race. We got put down 2 laps down. I think he might have been able to recover one of those laps, but weren't enough cautions. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers bank on cautions in iRacing, but at the professional level, they're hard to come by.
Yeah, especially at this level, they're pretty hard to come by. There's not many mistakes that are going to happen. I saw a few drivers here and there get put into the wall, but it didn't bring anything out. This is going to be, I think, an interesting task, though, for a lot of drivers to keep it clean. A very tight racetrack. It looks very wide, but the racing surface really isn't wide. You're going to really see drivers maybe using 1 or 2 lanes in 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, there's really nowhere you can go besides the very bottom of the racetrack. Enter a little higher, exit a little lower near the curb. It's going to be really tough for drivers to get any side-by-side racing. That's where the trouble could occur when drivers try to go side-by-side, when there's just not enough room for it to get the dirty air involved in it, washing up the racetrack. There could be chaos.
Trying to see where Jesper Orman is on the timing sheet. Is he here for this race? Oh, I thought I saw him.
Qualified 8th position.
There he is in practice. Trying to find him. He's in 15th. I was expecting to see him a little bit up there, but it's only the warm-up session. Ended up finishing runner-up last week. Hoping for something better, and then, of course, AJ Musselman as well. Did fairly well for himself. Currently 3rd in the standings, 1 week in. And just a matter of getting in solid runs, executing solid momentum for these drivers. Chris Stover, definitely one of the drivers who could use a little bit of a better run. Finished lower down the order than he would have liked.
Yeah, definitely didn't get the finish they deserved. Pretty much ran around where they started. And
same thing for this driver, Alexander Van de Sande. Not through his own... anything he could have done was essentially out of his control. Was involved in a wreck early on in the race, had a fast car, and just could never come back from it. A lot of Brandon Traino's fellow competitors are taken out. I think it made the job just a hair bit easy last week, but I think that just comes to show you how good of a driver Brandon Traino is, though. He's definitely got the speed, and I would say arguably the man to beat this season. Of course, all these drivers are going to try to prove that wrong in the next 11 weeks, so they can come home with the championship, but it's definitely tall order.
Yeah, Traino's going to be here all season long, making positions up and just keeping positions and making the daring moves a lot of drivers aren't able to do or just don't want to do. That's one thing that kind of separates him from the rest in other categories. He's definitely going to be a driver that's going to be tough to beat. He probably is the championship favorite, especially after last week's domination at Miami. We have at least one or two more tracks like that on the schedule. We go to Texas in the middle of January. That's going to be somewhat similar, and obviously later in the season, go to Nashville. So those types of tracks, that's where he's really going to excel. So he's going to be tough to beat, and if he could get another victory tonight, that's already a pretty big point lead.
Yeah, and there is Andreas Eich, also in the 76, a driver we have seen in the past perform very well. Typically doesn't get the wins, but is extremely consistent. One of the more consistent drivers on the schedule, usually be hovering somewhere inside the top 5 come races, and he's been really able to perform well in the championship standings due to that. So we'll see 76. It looks like his first race back, because I don't remember seeing him at Homestead, and the points is showing that either. So first start for the season for the number 76 machine. We'll see if he can end up near the top as warm-up is coming to an end.
Yeah, another fast driver, like you said. Excited to see what they can do. Another issue, I was seeing Brandon Traino at trying to practice pit entry. If we get green flag pit stops, that pit entry is going to be another point to focus on. Very, very tough to get down to speed on the access road that you have to use. So that could be another issue for drivers as well.
Definitely can be, as qualifying is coming to an end. And we'll get ready to go through your starting lineup in just a second here. And starting on pole position is going to be Adam Blocker in the 74. Didn't see him. Another driver didn't see last week. Off to a strong start already, up near the top. A force to be reckoned with. Alexander Van Stan trying to see if he can make up for what happened last week. Starting off in second in the 96.
And in third position, obviously last week's winner and the early points leader, Brandon Traino, will start third. Hamilton Akaboise, who had the penalty, got back one of those laps, but not the finish that he was hoping for. He'll start fourth in hopes of better luck tonight.
And moving on to the next row, it's going to be fifth place Christian Steele on number 2. Next to Mark Murphy, he's in the 69 in sixth.
David Adams, the 00, will start in the 7th position. He'll start alongside the number 4, Jesper Orman.
Moving on, another row behind them, David Adams, he's lined up in the 00, rolling up at 7 next to him, Orman in 8th in the 4th.
I skipped the row. Christian Steele and Mark Murphy, I think that was my fault. 9th position, Seb Alexander will start in the 9th position. Luis Nunez will start in the 10th position.
Moving on back to 11th, Julian Alonso, he's lined up in the number 11. Jacob Oster, he's in the 16 car, he's lined up in 12th.
Andreas Eich, first start of the season, will start in the 13th position alongside the 13 of Chris Stouffer, who I believe finished 16th last week, will start 14th tonight.
Moving on back another row in 15, Kevin Burrell, he's lined up in the 52. Next to him, Joe Branch, he's in the 28, lined up 16th.
17th position, Andrew Marquez in the 63. Tony Schoen in the number 31, the bright red and white 31 in 18th.
Back in 19th, Andrew Wood, he's in the 64 car. Next to him, AJ Musselman, he's in the 54, lined up 20th.
Rashawn Craig in the 21 will start in the 21st position for the number 21. Chris Cahill in the 57, the silver livery on that car, will start 22nd.
Greg Forsyth, he's lined up 23rd and 99. Matt Taylor, he's in the 80s, 24th.
25th and 34, dark red and white car. Gary Lawvern in the 34, and then 26th position, the 82 of Wayne Hunter.
And moving on back, we'll go through your next couple of drivers. Hugo Galaz, Tim Holgate lined up behind there. Then Mike Kitchell, 29th, Paul Vinicius in 30th, Alexander Ball lined up 31st. We'll round out your starting order of 31 drivers. Adam Blocker works his way through turns 3 and 4. We'll see what he can do starting from the top position here. Pace car in, driver is ready to go. Green flag in hand, and we are green here at Gateway. Lap 1 complete at Gateway in a flash of an eye. And Alexander Van Sant already trying to see if he can make up some moves and get ready to make a pass on Adam Blocker, but he's got some work to do as everyone's lined up mostly single file, a couple side-by-side swaps further back as Seb Alexander has to yield to David Adams for 11th.
Yeah, pretty much everyone else stayed in line. The top 6 pretty much stayed the top 6. The big loser on that initial start was David Adams. He started 7th. He went back to 11th rather quickly. At least he's back up to the 10th position. No, he is still in the 11th position. So everyone else outserved, but he kind of got trapped on the inside line with dirty air, and that's a recipe for disaster because you don't get the run down these long straightaways. You need that momentum. That's what caused him to lose 4 positions.
Looking at Christopher trying to work around the outside of Luis Nuez, and he will do that, and we'll also get just a slight bit of toe down the front straightaway just to help him execute the maneuver. Up to 9th for him. We talked about him hoping for a better spot and a better finishing, already inside the top 10.
I look to the inside in the turn number 3. It's for 8th on Jacob Oscar, but that move to the inside much more difficult to make because you're going to have all that dirty air. Pretty much everyone's going to be running the inside, so if you don't make that pass, you got to get back up in line and just hope you can have another chance to make that move work. Because if you get trapped down there, it could be a freight train. You might lose positions like the 0-0 did, but Stouffer had the gap to Luis Nunez, which is probably why he made the move, because he knew he had the gap to get back in line. He was able to do so.
Speaking of making moves, Matt Taylor in the background. Saw him trying to have a dive out on Rayshad Craig. He's back for 21st position. Saw him had a little bit of a dive to the inside. Couldn't quite get the move done. So he's going to try to see. You see a lot of drivers building up in turns 3 and 4. That's what we're going to see. You build up that run in 3 and 4 and try to get the move done down in 1 and 2 into the braking zone. But easier said than done. You really need quite a bit of overlap to make it work. You see him already just a little bit alongside, probably not enough alongside, anywhere enough needs to make the move, so he has to yield and back off.
That's the issue. If they don't have an issue out of turn 4, you're not going to get that much of a run on them to make that move work, as Seb Alexander tries to defend Julian Altena. But you need a big run to be able to commit into the next set of corners to complete the pass, because otherwise you're going to go in there side by side and you might wreck, or you're just going to have to back out and you're not going to have to run. You might go backwards position instead of gaining a position. So that's kind of a struggle these drivers are going to have to deal with. If do they think they can make that move into the corner? And if so, do they think they're going to keep that position if they dive that hard? I mean, it's a balancing act for these drivers right now with how aggressive they want to be.
Fight between Andrew Wood and Chris Ko. Chris Ko to dive into turns 1 and 2 will get it done on the exit in that beautiful Silva car. Andrew Wood, of course, struggling last week at Homestead. Didn't get another driver that didn't get a finish they felt they should have got. He was running well at one point at the daytime, but once it hit nighttime, it was a big struggle for the number 64 machine. Trying to see if he can get back going in the right direction. We see a dive in the background. Making a move. That's Tim Holgate making a move.
Smith, what's in the wall?
Oh, just as we were looking at him, caution out at Gateway. And we were just looking at him a couple turns ago, and Andrew Wood's race is over on lap 9. Let's take a look and see what happened there.
Rayshad Craig was there. And
oh man, that's a solid hit there.
Everyone did a good job avoiding. That was interesting. I think Craig thought there was a gap down there. Wood tried to close it there. What one got there? It's a tough one.
You're right on board with Rayshad Craig.
It's a situation I think Andrew Wood's going to be upset about how that went down. If Craig commits to a different line, Wood commits up, then he tries to come down. There's a lot of room there, but Wood tries to close it too late.
Yeah, to say the room was there, but the door was closing, and it's a risky move to make. We'll see how the admins feel about that, but pit road's open, and let's see what are the takers. Not everyone. Some of the leaders, it's actually split near the front, and we're going to watch down on pit road. You got to be careful. We saw some instances where it could have been drivers getting a passing under yellow. But
watch the crossover gate. That's still there for some reason.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I've never truly known if that is collidable or not in iRacing. I always just assume it was, and I always avoid it.
I think it is. I feel like I've hit it in a test session, but I don't remember. But it's going to be a little interesting at least. That's
the thing, is that no one ever remembers if they actually practice hitting it or not, so everyone avoids it to be safe. But this is definitely interesting. Oh, and Adam Blocker just let Van de Sant on by?
It looked like he put tires on. I'm not sure Van de Sant.
There was the race on pit road. Hang on.
They did. He did let him by. You're right. He did stop.
He started going, and then he's like, oh, you know what? I'll let you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I wonder if he saw the red light at the end of pit road and thought he had to stop, but that's not really the case. But this is interesting because Van de Sant and Blocker were top 2, and they're going to elect for more fuel and fresher tires over the track position. That gives the track position to Treno, who takes the lead now.
Yes, this is interesting to look at as far as drivers that came into the pit. So Alexander Van de Sant leading the drivers that came into the pit. So it's 18th on back. Then it's got Blocker, AJ Musselman, Matt Taylor, Joe Branch. A couple of the drivers that were running closer to the back prior to the yellow. And everyone else near the front, interestingly enough, stayed out, which I find very, very intriguing. It was only really Van de Sant and Blocker to surrender positions 1 and 2, no less, to get it done. But Brandon Treno now going to be up on the point. Hamilton Nakaboyese up there. Christian Steele in second. I actually think Christian Steele, this is his first start of the season. I don't recall seeing him back at Homestead.
No, he was not at Homestead.
Yeah, so he's
first start as well.
So here he is to try to see if he can make up for a runner-up finish last season. Ahead of the man leading the race. Then Mark Murphy, Christopher, your top 5. Orman, then Oster, Adams, Nunez, and Seb Alexander will round out the top 10 as we get ready for the restart. 30 of the 31 drivers still out there running. And a slight mix in strategy. Nothing crazy, just about 10 laps difference in fuel. We'll see. That could very much make the difference. Come the end of the race, we'll find out here. Base car off on pit lane. Treno in control of the field. And there he is, jumping on the throttle. Off and away we go. Green flag back in the air at Gateway immediately. Christian Steele trying to take advantage of the restart. Thought about looking into turn 1, had to back out.
And he tried going for it because Nakaboyese was not ready for the start. Treno got away, got a pretty decent gap, but Steele actually got hurt through 1 and 2 by backing off and lost ground to the number 7, as here goes Christopher for 4th to the inside on the initial restart lap.
As a look, couldn't quite get it done. A drag race down the front straightaway between both these drivers. He still has a chance to look to the inside. He will back out of it. In behind them, though, Orman and Oster doing it out. Orman on the inside. Orman on the outside. Oster on the inside. He got very loose on the curbing. That's one thing about Gateway. Avoid the curbing at all costs.
And he got loose before the curbing, and then he just brought him down. It made it even worse. Do not hit that. You're going to be spinning out pretty easily if you get into that too harshly, as David Adams got pretty close to the inside of Jacob Oster, but couldn't make that pass for that 7th position. You really don't want to go down there in 1 and 2. I think where you see those dark black streaks on the track, that's really the racing line. You can go down there to avoid dirty air, kind of like we saw the 21 doing on that initial yellow, but not a lot of grip down there. Easy to get sideways, not as much banking. You try to avoid that, I would think.
Definitely want to try to avoid it at all costs, especially when you have such a high load on these tires. Just a little bit of that little lack in grip can cause you to lose the entire car. So want to keep out of it, keep yourself going the right direction. Saw someone peeking out to make a move, and that's Adam Blocker trying to make up some progress. He had actually gotten around Van de Sant in the 96, so he's back up to 18 now, trying to make the first move on driver with older tires, and we'll get past Gary Lovren. That's number 34, the red and white car.
So now his job is going to be to try to put at least some distance on the 96 and just trying to get some track position over him before they make their next pit stop, whether under yellow or under green. But it's going to be interesting to see how much ground the 74 and the 96 can make up. They're the only drivers in the top 14 that even tried this strategy to take some extra fuel, and obviously they have fresher tires, but really not going to make a difference. That's really not, I don't think, going to change the way their car is handled, besides the fact that there's just more dirty air. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Julian Alton with a solid run, was able to make a move on Nunez up to 9th for him. And was able to defend that. Nunez tried to get back at him on the back part of the track, but couldn't quite execute, so up 1 spot for them. Up ahead, Christopher looking like he might fancy another move, trying to get around Mark Murphy. I think he lost this position on the start, or was trying to get this position on the start.
and they're kind of dropping off the top three. Treno, Akaboise, and Steele are getting away, while Mark Murphy slips out a little bit, not as up to speed as those top three, and I think Stouffer might have a little more to compete with those top three than the 69 does, but just shows, just looking at this onboard, you can see how tough this pass is to make. You got to try all sorts of different lines, but even there, he kind of washed up. He almost hit the wall. He tried to enter high, exit low, but the 69 kind of came down lower and took that line away. Now he's going to go a little bit higher, try to get some clean air on the nose, but once again, the 69 car is right there. There's not much he can do about it.
And the 4 car also, yes, Orman just saw him in the background. He's eyeing up a pass, so Stouffer's not only just has to attack, he's got to defend. And look, it's Orman throwing it in there to the inside. And it's just all about finding that clean air to get the car to rotate, and that comes at a premium at a short track like this. That battle for 4th will continue on three-way fight. Christian Steele trying to catch up to Hamilton Akaboise up ahead as Brandon Treno seems to be checked out once more. And there goes Christian Steele to the inside, to the point. And we'll get it done.
That's the main way passes are going to happen, is if the driver in front just lets you by. That was the case where Akaboise definitely let Steele by. He was really struggling with understeer out of 4, especially kind of running through the tire tracks of Treno, so he's going to back off and probably knows his car's not where it needs to be right now. Just going to follow Steele in and maybe try to stay in this fight, as Murphy and Stouffer still going to battle. Alton and David Adams, I think they battled for like 120 laps last week, and they're next to each other again.
Oh, that is very sketchy to make that move on the exit of the corner, because typically the cars like to wash up. You got to really hope the driver gives you room, and Adams, we've known races respectively, so I think Alton felt comfortable making it, and he will get one more spot to his name up to 8th, up ahead. See, that is Mark Murphy diving to the inside. He's feeling on the attack, and Orman is on the attack, throws it to the inside of Stouffer.
Yeah, Stouffer just got a little bit too held up by the 69 and let Orman have a move for 1 spot. He might go for 2 spots here, as Mark Murphy gives him the inside, as they both have pretty clean air. So Orman's going to get by Murphy, and Stouffer's going to be pretty upset because he couldn't get him this entire time. Just where Orman just got both of them.
Yeah, that just shows if you can set up the corner, especially if you catch other people battling, can catch them off guard, you can make it easy for you. So Orman up 2 spots up to 4th. He looks like he's got a very quick car. It's a matter of trying to catch him now to Akaboise, Steele, and even Treno. But the race is still young, only lap 25, 140. I say that young, but actually this race is going to go by fairly quickly if it goes green. Less than 15 minutes remain, so maybe I might take my words back there. As Christopher, another huge run on Mark Murphy, dives out last second, throws to the inside. Just can he get the rotation in the middle of the corner? He cannot down there.
Yeah, this race should fly by pretty quickly. It is less laps than Homestead, and under green, the pace is pretty much the same, actually, or if not a little bit quicker. So this is going to be definitely a quicker race, time-wise, if it went green from Homestead compared to tonight, where this is going to be a little bit quicker tonight. But I think that's going to mean a lot more drivers are going to be pretty aggressive with their moves, just trying their best to be aggressive and get positions whenever they possibly can. You don't really have time to wait. It's a little bit of a sprint race if it goes green like this.
Take a look at Adam Blocker. Has not made a whole lot of forward progress. He's only really passed 1 car that it did not pit. Got 2 more directly ahead of them fighting for a position. That's Andrew Marquez on the orange and black on the inside. And directly ahead, that's Craig Forsythe in the 99. So Blocker, again, this is really going to depend on how the fuel situation is going to play out. If we go green all the way to the end and he was able to save a stop, it's going to work out excellent for him. If he wasn't and there's more cautions, this might cost him being all the way back here in traffic.
It's a big risk because you're pretty much betting on it going green to make the strategy work. And that just very rarely happens where you get a fully green race without at least 1 caution to break things up. If there's a caution at this point, like for example, the strategy is not looking good because everyone else is going to pit and you either got to follow everyone in, which you don't want to do. So what you will do if you're Blocker and Van de Sande is probably stay out, but your tires are going to be much more aged than everyone else's are when you pit. So any yellow kind of throws the strategy off. But if it does go green and you do have enough fuel to make it on 1 stop instead of 2, put yourself in a good spot.
Definitely can. Jacob Oster, Chris Stouffer. Stouffer still starting to slip back. Oster taking advantage of the situation. Not quite getting the run he would like in 3 and 4, but he's going to dive and make it work. Almost touches the curb there. And is still going to get up high and can't quite get it done. He got pinched there by Stouffer.
Stouffer, I thought he was on the attack. I thought he was a little faster than Mark Murphy, but he's fallen off Mark Murphy, and now, like you said, Oster's kind of challenging him. This is kind of what we saw at the 64 of Andrew Wood last week, where it started off pretty well early on, but then just kind of faded as the run went on and just could never recover from that.
Oster's car still looking quick, though. I'd definitely say he's quicker than Stouffer at this stage of the race. It's just a matter of executing and getting the job done. Stouffer started in 12th. Trying to see if he can move up +6 if he makes the move. Oh, had a little bit of look with that cutout on the wall and dies to the inside.
Yeah, you don't want to use that. That won't end very well. I don't know if that was Steve trying to be funny or maybe scare Stouffer. It definitely scared us. I didn't know what he was doing there, but either way, he is faster. And you think it's only a matter of time before Stouffer just kind of gives it up, and I think he will.
Oh, he's not going to give it up. He's still going to fight. Stouffer with the move to the inside, trying to rebound back. Oster on the outside, this should be pretty easy, and there it goes. Seb Alexander getting a spot over Nunez, but Nunez back on the attack around the outside, gets a little bit of tow from David Adams up ahead.
David Adams going to run that higher line, and that is going to sail that 10 car up the track a little bit, but didn't really hurt him enough, so he's going to keep that spot over Alexander. Further back, Craig Forsyth, I believe, is pretty much letting Adam Blocker by, so Blocker got the position for Marquez. He'll finally get Forsyth as that slow crawl back up close to where they started, still going on. As far as track distance on track, is about 9.5 seconds behind Brandon Treno. Per lap, it's about 2/3 of a second difference.
See, but there's still some battling going on up ahead. Right off the board of Andreas Ike. Haven't mentioned a lot about Ike so far. He's had a quiet race. Started in 13th, is in 12th. It's usually how the day goes in the office for Ike. Usually a quiet day, finishes strong, still some racing left to go. But up ahead of Seth Alexander, he's got a great show for the battle going on for 9th. Nunez to the dive to the inside. Adams looks like he's not going to defend a whole lot on the outside. Tries to get a fender there. He will get a wing. Say a fender, these things don't have fenders. Get a wing up there, and he will still be up there trying to make a move into turn 3 and 4.
Could have been really bad because Nunez had the position, was barely clear, but just didn't fully commit up in front of a 00. Probably scared of contact there, so didn't fully commit and let the 00 get the run back and take it out of turn number 4. He's going to have to try probably a different line. He can't try the bottom because Seb Alexander's trying to get 10th position back.
Yeah, we saw Seb Alexander trying to take advantage of the situation, use Adams potentially giving dirty air to Nunez, make a move on the bottom. Ooh, Adams looks very tight off of 3, lose a lot of speed. Nunez has got a big run. I don't know if he's going to be able to make the move. He doesn't have a look. He does have a look. Very late move.
It's a very late move for lap 38 of the race, but you could tell he's faster, and Adams had another understeering moment. We might look 3 wide. Alexander's going for it. Look at this.
3 wide to turn 3. Who's going to give? Someone's got it by the time you get to the exit. And it's going to be Adams on the outside. He'll continue on. There's still 3 wide. They almost maintained it out of 4, but Alexander had to back off. Nunez also having to back off. Adams was able to defend that. That was the least likely result, I thought, heading into that corner. Solid racing.
He's still struggling out of the corners, but had at least a better exit that time. Alexander wants to be the first one by this 00. Caution is out. That battle's going to subside. We got a wreck out of 2, and it's Matt Taylor.
Matt Taylor and Gary Lovern, big damage to the front of his car. Matt Taylor, looking at him, some damage to the front of his car. So let's see what happened as caution number 2 is out in this race.
Ooh, what contact that it took.
Rammed off the front of that car. Let's see what led to this.
I saw them battling, Lovern and Taylor, but didn't really see it going sour.
I wonder if this is just maybe miscommunication on the exit. Taylor looks low, Lovern up high.
Contact. Couldn't really tell if the 34 was further down than it should have been. Maybe a little low. They kind of met in the middle a little bit. Somehow the 8's still running, and the 34 is as well, so maybe they'll get front wings and be back out there, but brings us to lap 40, brings us to yellow flag pit stops again. Look out for the crossover gate. Steele kind of swerved at it, but
someone's in the comments that they actually patched that, so it's no longer collidable. I still don't trust that, though.
Why is it? I don't even know why it's there at this point. But one thing that this does do, it kills Adam Blocker and Van de Sant's strategy. They did not elect to stay out. They all came down. So basically, they're gonna have to fight back through the field some other way, because now they can't cut a pit stop out compared to the rest, and they decided not to stay out for track position either.
Yeah, I don't think they could afford to really stay out on track position, because that would have put them at like a 30-lap difference in strategy, and you don't really want to be that far off the mark. So Blocker, Van de Sant, as well as everyone else coming back down pit road for one more trip. And so Blocker's got some work to do, back from 14th, Van de Sant from 17th, it looks like, as Trano will be taking the pointing of Christian Steele on Hamilton Akboise. They're going to be taking a quick break. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back for the restart. All right, and we are back here at Gateway, coming back for the restart. Coming to lap 43, just under 100 laps to go. Brandon Trano taking the lead. Steele, Akboise, Orman, and Murphy your top five. We saw Steele, he's kind of, actually no, Akboise sleeping on the start. This time Christian Steele up in second place. See if there's any change in the order here as Trano leads him down. Slow run to the line, a lot later of a restart for Trano, but off and away they go. When I thought I saw potentially Murphy making a move on Orman, couldn't get it done. He's off single file into turn one with everyone else. Going to be looking to see if Christian Steele maybe has something left in the tank early on.
That was really weird. Steele was really laying back on that restart, but never really jumped it. Just decided to give Brett and Trano 1, 2, or 3 car lengths of room, as they're 3 wide almost in the background. Marquez on the inside, KO on the outside. It was Van de Sant who tried making the move but backed out. So kind of stuck behind these cars. He didn't get by him on pit road even. Blocker got by those two and Andreas Eich though, but Van de Sant's kind of stuck. Now he's boxed in, nowhere to go.
I was going to say, I thought he was going to try to do 3 wide again, but it looks like he's just going to stay up on top. Feel like Marquez is not going to be able to make it work. He gets a little bit loose there, almost ended up wrecking into Van de Sant. What we saw happen to the 96 last week, but gets 1 spot up to 16th for him. Craig Forsythe also going to take advantage, move up 1 spot.
He's kind of got single filed out a little bit quicker this time, as Blocker 13th, Ike 14th, Cahoe, Van de Sant, Forsythe, Marquez, Branch, DJ Musselman in 20th. At the front, it got pretty orderly quick. Trano's still got the lead. He's kind of dominating once again. Mark Murphy's kept that 5th position, but Jacob Oster wants it, looking to be inside, but just no run.
Yeah, get no run there, and you always got to be careful, because when you lose that speed on the exit, you get someone charging behind you. Christopher looking to try to get some of the spots back he lost on the last run. Trying to make a move on Oster, at least try to catch up to make a move on Oster, and then behind them, let's see, I think Julian Alta potentially making a move, or sorry, that was Adams looking to make a move on Julian Alta into turn 1.
Trying to make that move to the inside, couldn't quite make it work. Van de Sant looked to the inside for 15th on Chris Cahoe. Couldn't make that position work either. Just seems like until the run gets longer and the tires wear out a little bit more, that inside line just not easy to get any pass to work down there until drivers start fading off long run. Then it becomes more of a viable option.
This Roarman able to get around Mark Murphy. Oster going to try to do the same, try to slam the door shut. Man. The door wasn't able to be slammed shut. Had to give him room.
It was slammed shut, but Murphy kind of kept his arm in there and kept it open and got that spot right back around the outside. But you can tell that car is still struggling a little bit on those short runs, although he picks it up as the tires wear out more, just this part of the run is the most crucial for Mark Murphy to try to keep that track position until his car gets up to speed.
Christopher taking advantage of the chaos, able to move up a spot, but gets tight on the exit. You see how much he had to back off there, especially as Murphy came in front of him. He started to get his dirty air. Here comes Oster now right in behind, tucked in under the wing of the 13. Not able to make a move in 3. We'll see if he has anything for turn 1. Not quite good run. Will stay in line. Meanwhile, up ahead, Brendan Trano leading the show, has been leading the show for nearly every lap of this race. Effectively ever since the first caution, he's taken the lead after Adam Blocker led the first opening stages of this race. And Christian Steele trying to chase him down from second, about half a second behind. And then this big battle going on for 4th place with Mark Murphy, Stouffer, and Oster.
You can tell how different the track is right now. Everyone's kind of moving up a little bit more on this run, just running an extra little bit higher to keep that dirty air on the nose for drivers who are trying to inch up the racetrack. Drivers at the front, obviously we're going to run the bottom in 3 and 4 if you have the air, but you do have some drivers trying to inch up the racetrack, just looking for any sort of grip they can get up there to get a run off that corner, but not a lot of banking to get that run off the corner. But at this end of the track, pretty much everyone running the middle, but then you got more drivers at the back trying to inch it up the racetrack a little further, like Andreas Ike was right there.
Gotta love that dynamic track in action. Horse and drivers make slight changes in their line after more rubber gets put down and we get later in the day. And that's actually one thing we couldn't quite get through at the beginning of the show. It's going quickly to green. Track temp currently sitting at 35.6 degrees. It is in the afternoon, around just before 6 o'clock. My military time is correct. So it's only going to get cooler from here. And, I thought up ahead, I thought I saw Brandon Trano heading to the pits. I believe that's Gary Lovern in the 34. Not sure if he's coming in to retire the car or make another pit stop, but there's a 34 down on pit lane.
Yeah, it's pretty off pace, probably because of the suspension damage that he got from that recent crash. So it might just be looking for more repairs, or like you said, maybe retiring the car. I would struggle for the 34 tonight. Looks like he'll stay in the car, just need some repairs. It's still single file throughout this field. The pressure on Mark Murphy has lightened up a little bit. Christopher not able to keep pace once again at this point. Luis Nunez, David Adams, and Adam Blocker are all going to battle for the 9th position.
Nunez going to make a move to the inside. Have a look on Adams. Tries to have the luck, not able to execute. We'll have to wait once more to make a move. And Blocker waiting to see if he can break back inside the top 10. Now look to the outside in turns 3 and 4.
Just washed up a little bit too much to stay to the outside of Nunez that time, but now he's got the run to the inside, and now he has Nunez boxed in. If Adams run the outside, which he did, that gives Adam Blocker all the clean air in the world to get a huge run through 1 and 2. You can just tell how strong that 74 car is just by how much ground he makes up in the center of the corner, able to get that spot for Nunez, and now he has a fair shot at David Adams.
Has a fair shot looking to the inside, but Adams is going to get that run off on the exit. You see right there, so Adam Blocker tucks back in. Yeah, at least hold on to 10th place, but then we'll try to make a move, or look to make a move and set it up for 9th. It's a great run on Adams out of turn 2, but has to fall back in line, get the run. And Nunez not close at all, so he doesn't have to worry from behind. Another dive to the inside for Blocker.
He's going to wash up a little bit, though. Those zeros getting enough of a slipstream down the straightaways and just at the right distance where he's not really getting that bad of an effect from the car ahead of him, which is Julian Altena. So able to defend the 74 for the time being. But we saw at the end of the last run how the double zero was starting to wash up the racetrack more than he would have liked to. So we'll see if that ends up working in Adam Blocker's favor.
Just up the road from them, Chris Stouffer, Jacob Oster. Stouffer gets really high on the exit. I think this might be a good chance for Oster to make a move. Gets the run, makes the look into turn 1. Dive down low for Oster. Can he get the rotation and clear? Stouffer, I think he will. He will do so.
Don't know if Stouffer wanted to back out that far. It just looked like he turned into the corner and it did not stick. He had a huge wiggle in the turn number 1. But was able to at least keep it under him. And he's able to keep the 7th position for now as Julian Altman is starting to catch up for that position. David Adams still defending Adam Blocker.
Yeah, we saw Julian Altona last week. Had a pretty decent car, but that car was on a nice edge. Looks a lot more stable this week and consistently quick as he's hovering inside the top 10. And now looking to see if he can get up to 7th place with Chris Stouffer up the road. With Stover, we see him perform pretty well in the beginning of the run, not so great at the end of the run. As further on behind, it looks like Adam Blocker finally able to get the move done on Adams, and we'll move up one more spot.
I feel like Adams was pretty slow out of the corner. I think that was a situation where David Adams just saw he was faster and just finally decided to stop fighting it and risk a silly incident. Just gave the position of a 74. So Blocker back up to 9th, about 5 seconds behind race leader Brandon Trano, and still a lot of ground to make up as far as track position goes.
Oh, Seb Alexander, I think, just saw got awfully close to the wall. This is on the exit of turn 4. Oh, just a little tap.
Did tap it, but don't think it did too much damage because he never really lifted out of the gas. There's Jesper Orman is given by Gary Lovren. That's a lap traffic car. Mark Murphy's trying to stay with him. As here goes Adam Blocker once again, trying to get by the 11 of Altona.
He's working a lot better now that the field's kind of stringed out a little bit more, and now he's trying to make some moves. Great pass for Blocker there. Nunez is trying to fight with Adams, not able to get it done. We'll have to back off on the back straightaway.
Altona dropped back a spot. Blocker gets another up to 8th, looking for 7th on Chris Stouffer. He just did not look like he had the speed on the previous run to make these positions up. Now all of a sudden he is picking them off really every 5 laps or so. A lot of speed. Now he's going to look to the inside of Stouffer with a huge run out of the corner.
Blocker trying to get the run, backs out of it, falls back in behind Chris Stouffer, and will look up high. And there's Gary Lover in that lap down car, and both of them have to avoid him on the exit, and everyone darting to the left side of the track to get by the lap car. As Blocker has another look on Chris Stouffer in turns 1.
He has a run. He's going to try to force the issue. He was barely clear, but just didn't want to push the issue that much. So Stouffer's going to keep the spot for at least another lap. Oster ahead of them runs the inside, so Blocker is going to wash up the track and have to drop behind Chris Stouffer. They almost made contact. Now Altona has a run back as there's all sorts of battling happening all of a sudden. Nunez got by David Adams for that 10th position. Seb Alexander, Kevin Burrell, Van de Sand, they're all battling for 12.
Yeah, Van de Sand trying to make up some ground here towards the end of this run, or heading into the next part of this run. In behind Burrell and Alexander, trying to look to the outside and see if we can follow Adam Blocker up the order. The car's starting to look quicker and quicker. And Blocker looks to try to square up Chris Stouffer once more.
Van de Sand got by Kevin Burrell. I think Burrell gave the spot up. Alexander looking at David Adams, and Luis Nunez kind of saw this at the end of last week. Had a lot of great long run speed, kind of showing that right now, looking to get by the 11 of Altona for that spot. Big run off the outside that time around, but going to have enough to have a look. We'll see if he can complete this pass. He didn't have much positioning, but he'll dove hard into turn number 1, and he's going to get that spot. Good
Slams
move.
the door shut. Great move, like you said. Up ahead is Adam Blocker once more. Nope, I thought he had a decent run, but it looks like Stouffer had the better exit off of turn 2. Blocker looking the long way around up top, trying to set up a run.
I think Stouffer is being a little bit more stubborn, kind of trying to run the line that Adam Blocker is, trying to do a little bit of defensive driving, and it's hurting Adam Blocker right now.
Seb Alexander working on David Adams as well. Conti looking to his inside. Oh, and now there's Van de Sand looking to the inside.
Van de Sand starting to show a little bit more speed once again, but just it's too difficult in 3 and 4 to complete that pass if you get to the inside. It's why you see so many drivers trying to set it up for turns 1 and 2 by getting a run out of 3 and 4 instead of trying to get the pass done out of 3 and 4, as Adam Blocker finally got by Chris Stouffer for that 7th position up ahead of this battle for 12.
Blocker up 1 spot, up to 7th. Van de Sand still back in 13th, has some more traffic to get by if he wants to join up there. Nothing missing in the front. You can see on the timing and scoring that Christian Steele is up ahead by about 2 seconds. Sorry, Trano's up ahead of Steele by 2 seconds nearly. And then it's another 2 seconds back to Hamilton Akaboy. There's a lot of the leaders separating out. This is where a lot of the battles are going on. And behind Adam Blocker, back to Van de Sand. Everyone grouped up in a tight, orderly fashion. Ooh, someone just made a move. I think it's Tim Holgate making a move on Marquez. Whoa, some wheel tapping into turn 1.
I don't know, Marquez is going to appreciate that. I don't know if there was more going on there or what, but Holgate really pinched Marquez to the wall. Maybe I don't know if I don't know if they have bad blood or what, but that was really odd. You don't do that in an Indy car. Maybe if you actually have fenders in a stock car, you would do that, but that was a little odd. It's David Adams. He's just trying to hold on for dear life. I think Van de Sant and Seb Alexander are faster, but he's holding his outside line. He's able to keep the positions for now.
Yeah, if you can ride that outside line, you can really use that to defend quite a bit. It's easier said than done, but Adams is doing a great job on defense. Has not let a whole lot of cars by him. He usually really had to work for it, and he's going to make Van de Sant do much of the same. Adam Blockman missed out about looking at all that other action. He's gotten past Jacob Oscar, so he's up to 6. He's made some really good forward progress. I would say if he wants to have a shot at winning this race, though, he's going to possibly need another caution to really reset things.
Yeah, I think he would need at least one more stoppage for sure. He's about 7 seconds behind, and the gap's still growing because Traino's running clean air is just helping him a lot. Although he is catching some slower traffic. Alexander Ball in 28, AJ Musselman. So he had a lot of speed last week, but Musselman has not had a good run tonight. He's back in 27th position, so that might slow up the progress of the 9 a little bit.
Just over halfway through this race now, and now the laps continue to count down more and more. And now you really got to set yourself up for it, the final stage, that final run to the end. As these drivers are just about 35 laps in on fuel.
Definitely one more pit stop from here. No one else will have to do an extra stop. You obviously can't make it from here, so really for most drivers you're trying to just run the fuel dry, pit at the latest possible avenue. There's not much undercutting it will help you with, I wouldn't think, so we'll see just every driver try to maximize their runs. So Alexander, speaking of runs, he has one on David Adams for 12th, and he has positioning into the corner as Nunez looked to the inside of Chris Stouffer. He's not going to get that spot, but Alexander did get the spot from David Adams.
And solid fighting back there. Take a look at Nunez, like you mentioned, trying to make up that spot up ahead, or I should say further back, is Julian Altona and Van de Sant about to go side by side. Van de Sant with the run, not enough of a run. I say that again as he tries to look down the inside in turn 1, and I think Altona is going to let him by.
Altona, I don't think had much of a choice there. Here comes Seb Alexander with a run as well. Saw from 17th. Craig Forsyth did pit, so I was just talking about I don't think undercuts work, but we'll see if Forsyth, anything happens with that. It's pretty early to come down, but he is the first driver to make a pit stop under his green flag run. Looks like Wayne Hunter from 25th will do the same. As battling 8th on back has been crazy.
Yeah, everyone's been all bunched up together. They've been fighting hard, and Van de Sant down to pit lane. I don't hate this call.
This is early, but I don't necessarily hate it, I suppose, because you need to get some sort of clean air maybe, or just some sort of advantage. You got to try something. That's what he's doing. David Adams also came down, so just, I guess the thought process is just having to try something different, you would think, just to maybe gain some time on the drivers ahead.
Change in the strategy, and I like it, because if you can't pass them on the track, you can try to pass them in the pits. So I think that's what Van de Sant's thinking. He's got too much traffic to really work through, he feels, and now's a better time than any to come on down. Most of the leaders remain out on the track, but Chris Stouffer, I say that now, next group, Chris Stouffer, Chris Cahill, Andrew Marquez coming on down, and I see another group in behind slowing down. That's Brandon Traino and Christian Steele. So ding, 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 here it comes. Everyone down to pit lane and get your fuel.
Yeah, this is honestly, I thought people would go longer. Altona's going to come down as well, but I thought people would stretch the fuel to the end of its lifespan, but not the case. Pretty much everyone's trying to end this now and not have to even worry about any of that as Traino tries to get in line, not have to slow down for other cars pitting. But yeah, definitely not really what I expected.
We can see, make sure everyone behaves down on pit lane first.
Caution is out, and it's it's Luis Nunez in 3 and 4. This changes everything.
This does change everything. Oh boy. And I wasn't sure if he's trying to pit or what was going on there, because I saw him slowing down and I assumed he was coming into pit. Let's see if that was the case. Oh, a very late commitment.
Yeah, you can't commit that late with the way the banking changes. That's never going to work. you have to be committed to the apron. I mean, he actually lost it even before the flat. The rear end got light and he lost it.
Who was behind him? What's happened?
I think Seb Alexander.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, yeah, he just got light. He turned it down. The thing was, he turned it so aggressively that he completely lost the rear end and just didn't have any rear downforce at that point. So that's gonna have a lot of people upset, to say the least.
Oh yeah,
because it completely changes the complexion of this race. It puts it right in Jesper Orman's lap, actually, who ends up with the race lead out of this.
Listen, the drivers may not like it, but for the people watching, they're going to be loving it because this just completely changes up the order of this race. Trying to see even what that order is looking like. So it looks like Hamilton Akabueze is going to be taking the lead ahead of Brandon Trano, then Mark Murphy, Adam Blocker up to 4th. This is going to work out great for him. Jacob Oster back in 5th, it looks like. Maybe not. Well, actually might be higher for Orman, as depending on where he came out of the pits.
The timing of the yellow is going to make things really tough and confusing for iRacing race control, I think.
Yeah. We'll actually wait, I think, till everyone gets sorted out here. Because the drivers coming out on pit road versus the drivers on the track. iRacing has to determine where everyone's going to end up. So a couple drivers having to pull over, actually. So actually, Adam Blocker looks like he might not be in as good of a position.
I think just looking at it from what my replay shows, it looked like Akabueze got into the pits before the yellow, but the guys behind him, like Mark Murphy, Adam Blocker, they might not have. So some drivers might have penalties. Akabueze might not.
It looks like he's holding position. We got 1 lap to green and a huge amount of drivers I can hear taking the wave around.
Taylor, Steele, Altena. The big losers are like Christian Steele is a big loser in this. He has to take the wave. Altena, Van de Sant's in that. Christopher, David Adams. A lot of drivers who are running really well are going to be on the back foot now.
Yeah, Matt Taylor is Christian Steele, Altena, Van de Sant, Stouffer, and David Adams. A lot of the guys running near the front, they're going to be now on the back half of the grid once this gets sorted out. So, all right, as we're getting ready for the green, it's not going to be extended. We're getting ready to go back. Akabueze, Trano, then Orman, Alexander, Burrell, your top 5. Ike, Holgate, Branch, Glaz, and Showett, your top 10. Some drivers haven't really mentioned all night long right now inside the top 10. This is going to be fun. Not a huge shakeup near the front, but a new leader. And we'll see. We know how Hamilton Akabueze, he's fast, particularly on the road courses. We'll see if he can prove it on the ovals as well, with defending series champion right up behind him. Green flag back in the area here at Gateway once more. Will this be the final race of the night? We'll see. Effectively, it's going to be now a sprint to the end. Hamilton Akabueze taking it away. Brandon Trano trying to catch back up.
Yeah, the best thing Trano can do is just get this pass done fast. We know that 9 car is faster than the number 7. He just needs to make sure he doesn't take himself out of this fight. Because I think that pass, once it gets done, he'll be back to where he wants to be.
Makes a move. We see the fake out there, trying to catch Hamilton Akabueze off guard, but 7 will keep it going in the right direction, unfazed. There's some more passes I see further down the order. Hello, 3 wide. Blocker through the middle. Wow.
That was wild. Mark Murphy's going to follow him through. Alexander Ball got track position out of that, but he does not have the pace, and it's causing chaos back here. Oster's going to go to the middle now. That 12 really struggling.
How did they do that? I got to take a replay of that. We're going to wait till this dies down a little bit. You go 3 wide again. Christian Steele looking up the inside, trying to make a move. Back down to 2 wide, trying to make a move on David Adams, who's being completely freight trained on the outside with Matt Taylor.
Yeah, that 12 car is in trouble right now. It's Christian Steele, Van de Sant. They're going to try to get the spot back, as we'll look at this move by Blocker to get through the middle. No room there. Ooh. And he had to be given room by the 10 of Nunez there as well. That was impressive. Ooh, Andreas Ike. I don't know if he lost his wing or if it's a glitch, but I don't see a front wing on that thing. He had some contact somewhere. As we'll get another replay of this while we have that. Ike's going to pit lane. What a move.
Great move by Adam Blocker, but yeah, Andres, like you mentioned, heading down a pit lane, damage to his machine, unfortunate. I'm not sure, and somewhere in all the chaos, he lost that wing. Unfortunately, it's going to ruin his day as he has to pit under green flag conditions. Meanwhile, up in front still, Akboise and Treno, they're breaking away immediately from Orman and Seb Alexander, running third and fourth. And it continues to be absolute chaos just outside the top 10.
I looked for myself. It looked like Ike lost it and ran into Tim Holgate. That's what hurt the front wing on the 76. Holgate got away with it though, and he's actually another one who's taking advantage of that yellow. He's up to 6th, but there are so many new players on the front. Christian Steele's looking 3 wide into turn number. Excuse me, it's Van de Sand who was looking 3 wide, but it was Steele who backed out. There's almost contact with Van de Sand and Oscar.
Got very, very close there. I think probably closer than Akboise. Van de Sand would have liked there as he got cut off by Oster and almost turned around. Almost ended up turning him around. Almost 3 wide again on the exit. These guys are fighting nose to tail and giving it barely an inch.
Another dive. Paulo Vinicius is up to 13th. Oster's trying to take it. He just took that position from the 42, and Christian Steele's going to have to try to follow through, as is Van de Sand. As up at the front, Akaboise's kept the lead, but Treno, he's not pulling away from the 9 at all.
Van de Sand tried to just barely work around the outside of Nunez as Vinicius hits the wall. That's going to allow Steele and Van de Sand to make a run. Van de Sand backs out, making him 3 wide.
Steele's going to get this spot from Vinicius, but he might have dove in too hard. Really had to back off on the exit of the corner, but Vinicius could not take advantage. Van de Sand trying to dive out of line, trying to go to the clean line. He's going to get to the inside of Vinicius, who's starting to fade, and now he's back up to 15th position.
Entertaining restart here now that the order's been shaking up. Everyone making moves because they know time is running out. Got less than 20 minutes of racing left should we go green to the end, and they know it. They need a push now.
There's Treno. He just took a look to the inside for the lead, but this is going to be the tough part for Treno, is obviously making this pass because he's got to do it on the inside. There's no way Hamilton Akaboise will give him the outside line to make that pass. He's going to have to work at it around the inside. But you can tell how much stronger Treno is. He's able to follow the 7's tire tracks through the corner and still get a run off the corner. Dirty air, almost not a factor for that 9 car. It really hurts in 1 and 2. You can tell it hurts in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 just doesn't seem like to be that big of a deal. Gotcha.
Right. Oh, I saw
there's a fence. There, it's Chris Stouffer in the fence.
I saw Nunez dropping down the order. Someone flying up in the air. Caution flying out once more here at Gateway. A massive wreck in turns 1 and 2. And this is what happened. 3 wide action heading into turn 1. Julian Altona, and Nunez make collision, and oh man, was that Stouffer in the fence?
That was Stouffer.
Oh man. Man, oh man. Let's take a look from up top and see what happened. This started essentially off of turn 4. 3 wide, Matt Taylor up on top, Nunez in the middle, Altona down low, then Stouffer to the outside as well. And some netcode involved as well, but oh
man. It's like the worst possible thing that could happen. And then I think Alexander Ball just slid in trying to stop for the crash. Yeah, definitely netcode there. I don't know if that would have happened without it, but Stouffer was in the worst position for that. Just got launched into a fence. Race over for the 13, no doubt.
Who was it that went sliding sideways into that at the end?
Alexander Ball, the 12.
Alexander Ball. Okay, I thought it was David Adams there for a second. See what happened to Alexander? Oh, I think he saw it try to break.
I think he saw a car in the fence and panicked. I would too. Lost the rear wing out of that. And the front. Yeah, brings everyone else back to pit lane. Not everyone, though.
Not everyone. The leaders definitely, so everyone topping off on fuel.
Jesper Orman's going to get out first. Looks like Orman and Seb Alexander are going to take fuel only, while Akaboise still gets out ahead of Treno. But we saw this last week with Chris Cahill. He stayed out, took track position, although he couldn't make it to the end. But this is a different situation because he might be able to make it to the end now.
So another shakeup in the order once more. So Orman and Alexander, like you mentioned, taking fuel only. I kind of like that call, honestly, this late in the race. They weren't on green for that many laps, I don't think. It didn't feel like it was that many laps. So Seb Alexander will stay out. Well, didn't stay out, I should say. Then let's see, Akaboise. Then got Akaboise, Treno, Burrell, and these are the drivers that came in and pit for tires. Trying to look at any other changes in that order. Adam Blocker back in 10th. think he's trying to make some forward progress. Alexander Vanissan in 13th. Jacob Oster back in 14th. Christian Steele 15th. Order's still shaking up, so I think we're going to see some more chaos towards the end of this race. I will say, you say it's chaos, but that was some fantastic racing there. I was amazed they didn't wreck. I would be I was amazed that they didn't wreck 3 times before that.
They should have wrecked when Adam Blocker tried that 3-wide move. That was impressive. It took them so long to finally wreck. But yeah, this is definitely going to be another bigger shakeup. The top 2 at the front, or the top guys at the front, didn't change after the caution during green flag pit stops, but it did change kind of the mid-pack from 3rd on back, because you got Burrell up there 3rd in line on fresh tires now, with Mark Murphy, Holgate, Branch are up there. Adam Blocker is up to 10th, but it's Chris Cahoe that's really throwing a wrench in things now, because now he has the opportunity to try to keep some track position over these guys.
Well, if you like the action here, it's not going anywhere, at least for the time being. Next race will be, it will be a while. January 5th, the Grand Prix of Indy at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. That's going to be some intense action at the road course for the first time this season. But for now, we'll see how it's going to play out with Chris Cahill leading the field down with just about 40 laps to go here at Gateway. Oh, and there's Trano trying to get the run. Remember, you can't pass on the inside before the line. He tried to time that to perfection. We'll see how that will work into turn 1. He will get around, not quite get around Akaboise. He will on the exit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be done about that. He laid back at least a full car length, and he was to the inside of Akaboise before they even got to the line. I'm not sure what the rules are. It's not my place to try to dictate them, but that was definitely interesting. But he at least gets the position from Akaboise for the time being on that initial restart. But it's a lot of work to do. Orman and Alexander got away from them, as did Chris Cahoe. Big gaps between the top 3 already.
Usually rule books will contain something about trying to gain the start, laying back, and things of that nature. It's been a while since I've taken a look at the rule book, so we'll let the admins sort that out. At the moment, the pass seems legal, and it'll be Trano that'll hold that position up ahead. He's still got some work to do. Mark Murphy trying to get past Burrell to try to see if he can get up anywhere close to the rest of the leaders. Seb Alexander holding place in 3rd, with Orman in 2nd and Chris Cahill in 1st. Orman, I think, is definitely interesting because we've seen that he has a fast car, the number 4 machine. So he will definitely put up a fight for Trano if Akaboise can.
I'm just interested to see what Chris Cahoe can do, though. I believe did not come down to the pits until that yellow came out under caution, I believe. Or he might have came in right before the caution. But either way, the fuel should hold up for him. And all of a sudden, does look pretty fast. 24.8 last time by, pulling away from Orman. It's already a 1.2 second lead.
Car's looking quick, and I think there's also there's less fuel in that car, so making just that much more quicker. And he's got the clean air. So we'll see if KO can stay out there. I don't know if he has enough fuel to make it to the end because everyone came in last time. That means that they got a pit. There's Trano forcing Seb Alexander into the wall.
Now, Trano is not trying to lose this race. He's trying to take it back. Yeah, he's trying to take it back into his own hands, and that's exactly what he's done with that restart with Akaboise, and he just straight up, he did not hit Seb Alexander, but he forced him out of room. He forced him into the wall, no doubt, and there might be a lot of damage because that was a pretty big hit to the outside wall for Alexander, but at least enough speed to hold off Akaboise for the time being. But that was aggressive.
That was a game of chicken right there, and exiting turn 2. We'll take a look at it once more. Was trying to force Seb Alexander's hand there. He's saying, nope, you are not coming back at me. I got the spot. It is my spot. And here is Hamilton Akaboise with the move.
Yeah. Yeah, that he's going to have to mess with the weight jacker, the anti-roll bar, whatever he needs to mess with. But you can tell that damage has thrown that car out of alignment. He had a big wiggle into one, and he wiggled out of 2. So already you can see the handling has gone on that car, probably because of a toe damage on the right rear. He is trying to hold on.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's where it is. Bodywork seems fine, but that suspension, though, like you mentioned, might have been knocked out of alignment, and he's trying to make the car work, but the grip just doesn't seem to be there on the back end. Looks like he's gotten in a little bit more dialed down, but Kevin Burrell now trying to fight for him in the 52, and Burrell's been doing a solid job since the restart with his newfound track position. Started this race in 15th. Whoa. A lot of smoke. Not sure that's from the brakes or Seb Alexander having some issues, but Burrell now looking to the inside, trying to break inside the top 5.
I think Yeah, that was someone else. That smoke was for someone else. I think someone came down the pit lane, so not an on-track issue. But yeah, the 49 is in trouble, and he's starting to see a line of cars stacking up behind him. You got Alexander leading. Then you got Burrell, Holgate, Murphy, and Adam Blocker, who's still trying to recover from the poor pit strategy. He's got 5th place right in front of him if he can get there.
Adam Blocker moved to the inside of Mark Murphy, who seems to be a little bit off the pace, at least off the exit of turn 4. Will take advantage, and we'll move up 1 spot up to 8th. And Seb Alexander still holding station. Burrell not able to make a move. Tim Holgate in this mix as well. Look at that. Started 28th, up in 7th. He's having a fantastic run. And try to see if he can make it 6th or 5th.
He really took advantage of that yellow. Was able to gain track position out of it. And he's been able to hold it for the time being. As he might, I think all these drivers are faster than Alexander, or at least more stable than Alexander. I just don't know if they'll have the speed to get by him. There's great battling here. There's battling everywhere now. Hugo Galas, we haven't talked about him all day. He's up to 12th. He's actually battling the driver who has been fast all day, Christian Steele, for that spot. So Steele's going to get that. Jacob Oster just passed Tony Schoen for that 14th position at the same time.
And right there is the pass from Brandon Trano on Jesper Orman. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer. I saw Orman was getting the gap between himself and Trano was closing down. And it changed at the flip of a switch, so it looks like Orman not quite able to keep up the pace.
Alexander spinning out of 4. Look out, everyone else.
And it looks like everyone was able to avoid it.
Oh, that could have been way bigger. It was just a matter of time. That car was out of control after this.
Did he have some help, though?
Well, he had a big wiggle.
Went up into the 6 of Holgate, and looks like that finished him off.
Yeah, he's battling hard here with Burrell down into the corner. He's still going full send mode, just trying to keep the positions. Right there, he's going to wiggle up into the 6, and then he loses the rear wing, which probably finishes it off.
Wow, Adam Blocker almost got taken out in that. That was extremely close.
I think Mark Murphy might have almost been in that as well. Really close,
yeah,
there.
He got a piece of it, I think. Take a ride on board with Holgate. Oh, that good of a view.
We're going to see the rear end get out of whack right around there.
Yeah, stepped out.
And I think if the 6 isn't there to take his rear wing off, he gets away with it, but he loses all that downforce.
Where is Adam Blocker?
Chris Cahoe's coming to pit lane. Everyone else is staying out. Him and Mark Murphy just avoided disaster.
And Chris Cahoe, like you mentioned, coming down to the pits. Not surprised there. He was running really well with the lighter fuel tank, but eventually you got to come down and get gas to finish. So Cahoe down to the pits, put him back to P20, it looks like. And Trano back on point. Then it's Orman, Akabueze, Burrell. Then Adam Blocker up to 5th. Blocker is getting there. I think he may need another caution or 2 to get back up there. The timing of that previous one that really threw everyone out of whack initially, I think really upset the order, the green flag pit stop one. And so that's really upset the order. That put him much further back than he would have liked, because he was making progress by that point. I think he was up to 6th or 7th place before that caution came out.
It was really fast on that run and gaining positions, but yeah, that yellow just threw everything out of whack. I wouldn't say we're back to fully normal at this point, but at least I think at the front order has been placed back to Brandon Trano, and he had to get aggressive on that last restart to get back there, but he passed Jesper Orman just in time before that last yellow came out. Orman's now 2nd. He got Akabueze on the restart, who's now in 3rd, so you would think maybe at this point Trano should be in full control at the speed he showed once again tonight, but still an interesting top 10. Kevin Burrell, great run in 4th right now. Holgate in the 6th position. Mark Murphy's been top 10 all night. Van de Sant's up to 9th. He has not recovered as well as Adam Blocker. I don't think he's at the speed that the 74 has, but he's back in the top 10. Another driver who's still trying to recover is Christian Steele, who had been running top 3, and he's only recovered to 10th so far.
There he is running in 10th place, as you mentioned. And it's as high as 2nd place, but not for long. Back now to 10th, and ahead of him, Alexander Van de Sant. Adam Blocker in 5th. Then Akaboise, Orman, and Trano, your top 3. Will it remain that way? We will see. This race is quickly coming to a close. Going to get the restart here with 25 laps to go. Trano leading them down. Do you think we're done with cautions?
No, I don't think so. I think this is going to get pretty interesting on this restart. You're going to see a lot more aggressive moves here.
The T-Pace car in. Trano leading them on down. Green flag back in the air. Orman and Akaboise close together into turn 1. And as the rest of the field gets brought on down.
Well, Walker made a great move. He already got 4th from Burrell.
Whether that was planned or Burrell felt, nah, it's not worth fighting for it.
Akaboise for 2nd at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say, Akaboise, he need to get around Orman quickly if you want any sort of shot at trying to get the win away from Trano. Orman back looking to the inside, but he figures it's not enough of a move he can make. So Akaboise up to 2nd place. Orman back to 3rd. Blocker up to 4th. Blocker on a charge. This might not be over yet for the 74.
We'll see if he can keep pace with the 9 even through all of this. But yeah, big battling back there. Altena and Jacob Oster were kind of chasing each other down the racetrack. Hugo Galaz is in that battle back there as well as Adam Blocker trying to chase down Jesper Orman.
Trying to chase them down. There's some of the battles you're mentioning here. Galaz, Altena, and Oster all in a close fight here. And there go the teammates fighting one another.
Yeah, they're going to go to battle here. Altena, I think, is faster than Galaz. He's going to get that 11th position. They're trying to keep it off the corner. Craig Forsyth just got by Tony Showen for the 15th position. Marquez and Matt Taylor are all in that battle as well.
Oh, wing damage for Oster. He was trying to make the move.
Oh, and Showen and Galaz.
Just sort of talking to them. I was just looking at him making the move on Galaz or trying to do so. He ended up hitting Galaz. It not only took his wing up, but sent the 18 car spinning. We'll take a look. We kind of caught a piece of that.
A misjudgment by Oster, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Showen just was up there.
Yeah,
I don't know if he meant to go for the move. It almost looked like he was surprised by how early Hugo checked up and then tried to dive to get out of the way and not hit him at the last second. It ended up still making some contact.
Yeah, this looks like misjudging. This is look at Tony Showen's point of view. What happened to him? He was already up top. I was trying to slow down.
Yeah, that's like the worst case scenario for him. He was committed to high and then had nowhere he could go. He'll limp that thing back to pit lane, but 20 laps to go. That 31's done.
We'll join the list of drivers out of this race. Potentially, he might have a small chance of getting that fixed up, but as far as retirees, Hugo Galaz, Seb Alexander, Alexander Ball, Luis Nunez, Christopher, Gary Lovern, Rashad Craig, and Andrew Wood. List of retirees. We got 23 cars still running out on the racetrack at the moment, of which 21 on the lead lap. Andreas Ike, he's been struggling to get that lap back. He was down 2 laps, he got one of them back with one of the mistimed cautions. Is still 1 lap down back in 22nd, and then Wayne Hunter as well as another driver a lap down.
A lot of drivers that are going to gain some spots out of the attrition rate, like Mike Kitchell, who we really haven't talked about a lot. He's up to 17th. This will work out a little better for Chris Cahill, who's now got some fresher tires than everyone around him, although he had the pit from the lead. He's up to 18th. Forsyth is 14th. And Christian Steele, surprisingly there, didn't really get through the field as well. He's still only in 10th. Joe Branch, haven't talked about him a lot either. He's up in the 9th position.
I haven't really mentioned Joe Branch, you're correct about that. Carrying the series sponsor, Catalyst 317, on the side of his car. Solid day for him. Started in 16th up to 9th. Been running in the 10s. And now towards the end up here inside the top 10. We'll see if he can finish and get a solid run. And get a top 10 to his name to the end. It's still going to be a lot of racing left to go. Some of the big names where they're running. Christian Steele back in 10th. Van de Sande in 8th. Mark Murphy in 7th. Tim Holgate and Kevin Burrell both having great runs. I thought they would have fallen off a little bit, but they've been holding station in 6th and 5th, respectively. Adam Blocker up 1 spot to 4th. Orman in 3rd. Akbueze in 2nd, and Brendan Trano leading once more. I think if Adam Blocker could potentially make quick work of Orman and Akbueze, he might have a shot of taking it to Trano.
It's going to be a really tall task to get both those drivers in time, to have enough time to have a shot at Trano. We really haven't seen these two head-to-head at all. I mean, Blocker was the leader. Trano wasn't able to challenge because they had Van de Sant in between the two, and then when the 74 and 96 pit, that was pretty much the last time they were even close to each other. So, like you said, Blocker needs to be very aggressive and very methodical to try to get those 2 spots. Aggressive and methodical don't go together, but he's going to have to find a way to do it if he wants a shot at this win.
He'll have to find a way to do it. We'll see what they will do. Fielding brought back out of turn 4. Back to the green. Trano leading them down once more. Adam Blocker all over the back of Orman immediately, trying to see if he can line up a move.
Holgate's going to dive inside of Kevin Burrell, trying to get that spot, as Blocker did this crossover on Orman, but he doesn't have the slipstream, so it's going to be tough to keep overlap. And he's going to have dirty air, but Orman at the track, Blocker's going to get that spot.
I wonder if the Orman maybe thought of letting him on by. He knows that Blocker has a quick machine, hasn't just had the track position to work with it. He's going to try to fight it again on the inside. He's not done yet. And it looks like, though, Blocker will get a better run through the corner and a move done. Holgate, a little bit of a poorer restart. It causes Burrell and Murphy and Van de Sant to all line up in behind. Here goes Burrell, speaking of which, a die to the inside.
And they're not given as much room as they were earlier. Holgate really put the 52 down to the curb. He's going to keep that spot, while Murphy kind of went up the racetrack, let Van de Sant get by. Now those two are going to go to battle in turn number 1 with no room in between them.
Fighting with inches. It was feet before, it's inches now in the later goings of this race. Just about 15 laps left to go. Mark Murphy trying to make up some ground here at the end. Van de Sant trying to make up some ground up to 7th. It's a solid run for him. All things considered, Joe Branch in behind, trying to keep that top 10 going. Christian Steele's on by. Here comes Altona looking around the outside.
Altona's been kind of forcing the issue on the way higher line all race long, but just hasn't really gotten it to work as well as he wants it to. But he's able to defend and get by Joe Branch for 10th, and now Branch is just getting freight trained. There goes Oster. David Adams going to try to follow as well, as Van de Sant still working on Kevin Burrell for the 6th position.
Burrell gets a great run off of turn 4, enough to keep ahead of Van de Sant in his charge from 7th to 6th. They have to try once more. Meanwhile, Adam Blocker trying to work off the back of Hamilton Akbueze, see if he can get this pass done quickly and have some sort of run up for the lead. He's been working all race long to get anywhere close to the top 3, as I think Akbueze caught a piece of the wall.
I don't know, that might have been Blocker that hit the wall. They're just all so similar right now. Akbueze was actually faster than Trano that time by, but all these top 3 are just on top of each other. Very similar times. There's just no time left to really battle. Blocker's trying different lines in 1 and 2. Excuse me, there's not much he can do in 3 and 4. Just besides following in the tire tracks, quickly running out of time. But Akbueze all of a sudden showing some decent speed. Trying to look at Trano for that spot.
Trying to have a look here as Orman remains ahead of Holgate. Then Burrell, Van de Sant still trying to make up a move. Still some great racing going on towards the middle to tail end of the field. David Adams, we saw him trying to make a move on Branch earlier. Forsyth, Andrew Marquez, all in this mix as well. Adams with the run, not able to go anywhere at the moment. Ooh, Holgate might fancy a move on Orman here towards the end.
I thought Orman maybe would pull away, but actually Tim Holgate's got a pretty fast car at this point in the race and is faster than Orman. Orman's going to give him all the clean air on the bottom of the racetrack, but it's not going to do much for Holgate. He'll try to build a run into 1, but not quite close enough at this point. This is the closest at the front of that.
Oh, that must have been a hardware issue, and I think we're going to see the caution come out because of it. He's going to come to a stop on the track. He's out of the line, and there goes the caution. That almost looked like hardware failure to me.
Yeah, there was no contact. That had to be something with the wheel or black screen, something. They just go straight.
Oh, man. The jump scare for everyone watching there.
And he has not reset either, so that
right on board and see. Oh, yeah, you can see right there. You see how the wheel just goes immediately straight? That's a hardware issue. And that is so unfortunate. I really feel bad for him. Imagine that running 5th. Probably one of the best runs you could have had this season. And unfortunately, it's going to end up in the wall in the last couple laps. You know, obviously, like in real life, they have mechanical issues with the car. In the sim, we have hardware issues.
Yeah, they said his screen minimized on him. So when it does that, it goes black. And so
yeah.
Not much you can really do there besides anticipate, and even that's not going to get you very far. But yeah, it is a shame. He was looking for a top 5 position. He started back at 28th, and he did a great job playing strategy right to climb back up through the field. And another driver that's not going to get the finish they deserve.
Ever-growing list, it seems to be. As we're coming down to it near the end, I think we're approaching potentially what could be the final restart. If not, maybe the chance at one more. If we get it immediately. Because remember, no green, white checkers in IndyCar.
Well, the IndyCar doesn't do 5 million green, white checkers. Shock.
Yeah, we don't run until we get a green flag finish. No gimmicks like that. We run the scheduled distance. So, Treno, I'm sure, hoping to send sooner rather than later. Akabueze in behind than Adam Blocker. This is actually looking even better for Blocker because he's been phenomenal at these restarts. That's where he's been making up these spots. Got past Burrell very quickly. Got past Orman very quickly. And I think he might try to dispatch Akabueze much of the same. He doesn't really have a lot of time left to do that. So, if he's going to make a move, he has to do it quickly.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I don't think if he doesn't get it on the first lap after the restart, I don't think he's getting there and getting that position. He needs to time it so well he borderline jumps it. That's pretty much his only chance to get second, I would think, at this point. Even though he looked faster than Akabueze, it just takes too long to set that pass up. And especially, like you said, it is probably his last chance. This probably is going to be, in all likelihood, it's the last restart. If we get 1 to go here, we go green with 6 to go. If you get a yellow on this restart lap, maybe you get a 1-lap shootout, which will go 1 to green, but even then, that's a stretch, and you're not going to do anything on a 1-lap restart besides really stay in line. So he's got to race this like it is his last chance, which it should be.
See, for Brandon Treno trying to make it 2 for 2, 1 at Homestead, Miami, without much of a fight. Tonight looking like it might be much of the same, depending on how these last couple laps go. He's had pretty much nothing but clean air. I'll take a look at how many laps he's led. 92 of 134, and a lot of those were due to either him, A, not being in the lead initially, or B, under green flag pit stops. So he's been up on the point for a majority of this race. I don't think actually Hamilton Akabueze was in the lead for a couple laps, and then Blocker for a couple as well. Really, I think these 3 drivers leading pretty much the majority of this race.
And as long as Treno just gets a jump like he has been on most of these restarts from the lead, I don't think anyone's going to catch him regardless if Adam Blocker gets second.
Here we go. Potentially the final restart of the race. We'll see. Green flag back in the air once more. A poor start for the 7, and it's going to be exactly what Blocker was looking for. He's all over the back of his rear wing.
Kind of followed him into 1 and 2, but he'll get a big run off of turn number 2. He'll look to be inside. This is probably going to be his shot right here.
It's going to be a shot. He knows he's going to make a move. Look to the inside. Akabueze out of line. And Blocker going to try to squeeze him and slam the door shut. He will do so. Take over second place. Now, does he have anything for Treno up ahead?
Now, that's a man just knowing he had to go now. That was incredible. The commitment to make that move and just know it's going to work, or at least hope it's going to work enough to make it. Akabueze could have taken them both out. That was impressive. But he's already got a decent amount of ground to make up if he wants that spot.
Got to adjust the car, find anything he can, any speed he can. 5 laps to go. Now 4 laps to go. Huge crash in the background. That could be it. Joe Branch in the wall with David Adams. Caution will fly.
They crossed 4 to go, and they're catching up to the pace car. That certainly has got to be it.
Yeah, ends in the wall for turn 4 for a couple of drivers. Ooh, looks like contact with Craig Forsyth's what initiated that, but who went up into who, we'll have to see.
That looked like Forsyth just came up the track big time.
Yeah, he got tight in the corner to the exit, pushed up into Branch, and then Adams, nowhere for him to go as well.
Yeah, Branch kind of comes down track a little bit, but Forsyth is way further up than I would personally anticipate him to be. And David Adams just gets flung into the air with nothing he could do about it.
Looking off of Paulo Vinicius. Incoming through the wreckage remains. Off of Joe Branches.
Side by side here, Branch slips up the track. You can tell from that angle especially, just shoots up the track. Nothing Branch could really do about it. Bam. Gets away with it a little bit too, no damage.
As we come down to pacing, come down 2 laps to go. Clearly will not be getting the restart. Not sure if Blocker might have had anything there. I think he's probably going to be wishing there's just one more caution that he could have had. Just about 10 more laps. One more. If we had 10 more laps, might have had a shot. The restarts were where it was for Blocker. Kept taking them off one by one, but a couple laps too short. All in all, though, it's a fantastic recovery.
Yeah, and Adam Blocker, he's probably kicking himself for a number of issues that he could have kind of controlled himself. Obviously, the strategy at the beginning of the race could have gone differently had he not pit there. Obviously, if he was able to get caught in a good way by the yellow under green flag pit stops, could have gone his way. He really had to come through the field twice, and he was still able to get all the way back up to second.
Yeah, definitely the hard charger, if there was an award for that in this series, would be going to the 74. I think he probably made the most amount of passes out of anyone in the field, having, like you mentioned, having to essentially pass the field twice. Akaboy's a solid run near the top, never dropped lower than 7th the entire race. It was a pretty impressive feat. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get there near the end. It's going to be a solid 3rd place finish, much better than how he performed at Homestead Miami. So he's going to be a happy man in the office. And of course, Brandon Trano, pending something catastrophic happens in this final lap under caution, he'll be walking away with win number 2 and a fantastic start to the season for the number 9 machine. And you just got to wonder, as every race goes by, who's going to be the one to tackle him. Because it seemed to be a lot of great drivers in behind him, but no one quite on his level to actually get ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if someone can challenge him at the ovals, but we'll see in a few weeks' time if he can also keep the same competitive level at the road courses along with the rest of these drivers. So that will be fun to look at in 3 weeks' time, as Blocker was looking at the porta potty there. But Akabueze, I'm wondering if he is upset with Blocker. I don't think he would be that upset with him, but he pretty much was forced to lift. I mean, Adam Blocker, that's pretty much the definition of an IndyCar slide shot there. I mean, he fired it into 3. He really did not lift, and he forced Akabueze to either you lift or we're both crashing. What would you rather have? And Akabueze made the decision he'd rather have 3rd rather than a wrecked race car.
Yeah, we'll definitely ask him how he feels at the end, as it's a slow crawl to the start-finish line. But for Brandon Trano, he will finish off 2024 with another win to his name, win number 2 of the season. And the only driver to win this season, Brandon Trano, will take the win here at Gateway. And a solid result for him. Adam Blocker 2nd, Akabueze in 3rd. A solid top 3 right there in line. Some fantastic racing all around for Blocker, just short of the mark. As the field gets ready to wrap things up here for 2024.
Celebratory service from Oster. Oster gets 10th out of the day. He was kind of all over the board on the timing sheet today, but he gets 10th out of it. But just shows Trano was going to be tough to beat. We talked about it last week. We talked about it this week. We'll talk about it in 3 weeks' time. It's going to extend that points lead. It was Jesper Orman in 2nd, so he's going to extend that lead a decent gap, because obviously Adam Blocker was not here last week. That lead's going to be big already.
It's going to be a big lead. We'll see how it plays out. Hamilton, there are some drop weeks, so I think that'll help out some drivers. Hamilton Akabueze in 3rd place with Jesper Orman, Kevin Burrell, Alexander Van der Sande, who was able to come all the way back up to 6th, all things considered. That was a really good charge and recovery for the 96. Mark Murphy back in 7th, Julian Altena up in 8th. Christian Steele only able to cover to 9th, with Jacob Oster rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, at least I think Steele will take at least a little bit of happiness out of that, but definitely could have been better for him. Forsyth involved in that last incident with the contact, gets 11th out of it. Marquez 12th. Matt Taylor, who was in one of those crashes, gets 13th. Cahill recovered to 14th after leading some laps today. AJ Musselman, talked about him earlier. He was not running well, but gets 15th place out of the day. Mike Kitchell, same thing. Did not really talk about him a lot, but gets 16th. Vinicius 17th. Andreas Ike broke the front wing under green, had to pit, only got 18th out of it. Then Wayne Hunter 19th, and David Adams gets 20th after getting flung into the air to end this race.
And moving about back to 21st, Joe Branch lined up in 21st. Then Holgate, after his contact, taking him out, and pretty much the list of retirees from here on out. Holgate, Chowan, Galaz, Seb Alexander Ball, Christopher, Luis Nunez, Laverne, and Rayshad Craig in 30th. And final driver, Andrew Wood, we saw was the first retiree of the race way back in the opening stages.
A really tough race for him. Obviously, was running good at Homestead, then fell off as the race went on, then had the crash. So it's 2 weeks in a row where it's an early exit for him, and obviously the earliest exit out of anyone. So Andrew Wood, like you said, drop weeks will help a little bit, but to have 2 off weeks already is not a good start of a season. But a capable driver, he'll recover, but just a tough stretch.
Yeah, waiting for some of the drivers to finish up and come over for some interviews. Definitely want to ask, especially Hamilton Akaboy, how he felt about being raced by Adam Blocker there towards the end. But I think all things considered, can't be too mad at a solid top 3 finish. But he's probably felt it could have been second place.
I couldn't run IndyCar leagues because if someone did that to me, I wouldn't lift. That's why I was get the fenders, because that type of stuff doesn't fly. It's kind of self-policing when you have fenders to work with. So definitely, I think in another discipline, if Akaboyes is in a stock car there, which I don't know if he even runs stock cars, but if he did, I think Adam Blocker would get the boot there. But you just can't afford to do that because one little tap, your race is done. So there's nothing you can do besides just let it happen.
Well, we got one of our first interviewees, Hamilton Akaboyes. He's jumped into the waiting room. We'll join him here in the booth. Hamilton Akaboyes, you got a copy?
Yo.
All right, well, got to talk about how that run towards the end was. We saw there he had an intense fight with a couple drivers inside the top 5, and then especially with Adam Blocker there. Then we got to ask you, how did you feel about that move towards the end? Did you feel like he raced you a little bit too hard and too aggressively, or do you think that was the right amount of aggression towards the end?
No, it was all fine. Just he had more pace than me for sure. He was tearing through the field. Maybe if I got a bit better run going towards turn 3, I could have held him off and towards the end, but I'm not too mad at it. I mean, P3 is always great, so, and they were really fast for sure.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask you too, is you were chasing Brandon Trano as well for a majority of that race. Unfortunately, weren't quite able to get up there and make a move on him. Do you feel like there was anything you could have done differently to try to get around him?
If I had stayed in front of him on the one of the restarts, then maybe. But his car was better in traffic, so I don't think I really could have done much to get around him. I think Blocker maybe could have at least got close, but I didn't really have a chance.
All right, well, Hamilton, a solid third place finish for you. Almost make up for what happened last race at Homestead, Miami, but a solid run, solid top 3, and hopefully first solid finishes to come.
Thanks.
All right, with that, we'll move on. Doesn't look like we might have Adam Blocker, so we'll take a look and we'll take a chance to talk to Julian Altona, who had a solid run today in 8th place. Involved in a couple of battles there, Julian. Walk us through the race one from your perspective, because you were kind of right in the middle of the action.
Oh yes, that was one hell of a race. Seriously, I had the most fun at Gateway in a day that I've ever had. Probably, the car was just great. We loaded a setup and made a few adjustments to it, and it just worked. I got a really good lap in qualifying, and then sadly a yellow came out whilst we were running in P8, and that really set me back. I think I could have probably had a challenge for the top 5, probably not actually get it, but at least challenge for it, which was very good positive to take. I had one big netcode incident in turn 1, I believe. I was on the inside, and I was kind of expecting the car on the outside to just back off because I think there was Taylor on all tires. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and I think netcode sent Luis into him and took them both out. So that was really unfortunate. And then with 5 laps to go, I think there was also an incident with Steele, but I think he just got loose on the outside. There was zero contact there. So yeah, netcode is not always kind to you, and I mean, for me, unfortunately, it worked in my favor. But yeah, I hate to see that for those guys because they all had great races going, and especially Luis, he was really doing well. I know he's more of a road racer. He runs in my league too, and he's getting there. He's doing amazing on his new team. So hopefully for him, he can bounce back stronger the next race in the new year. But yeah, very strong race from our end. Really sucks as well for Hugo. He had an incident with somebody as well that kind of took him out. He should have been right with me, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
All right, well, Jane, solid finish for you. Thanks for talking to us, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, looks like we do have Adam Blocker jumping into the booth. Adam Blocker, got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Adam. Well, solid run for you. We were joking. You probably had to pass the field, but felt like twice over. You made that call earlier in the race with Van de Sande to come on down for fuel, trying to play the fuel strategy, but had to drive through the order with the cautions just not lining up for you this race. So walk us through how hard you had to fight this race.
Yeah, I mean, first, got pole, so was happy with that lap. Yeah, and then, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback it, but we pitted early, and I think that would have been the right strategy if, you either get an early yellow on that next run or it goes green for a while. Like literally if the next caution had come out 5 laps later, then those guys would have pitted and we would have cycled to the front. But we got a badly timed yellow, and so went to the back. So was saving fuel, already passed most of the way through the field, was 6th, and then got entering a closed pit because I was basically committed to pit lane when the caution came out. So passed them all again. So it was fun.
Definitely looked like a lot of fun, at least while you were working through the field. And also just talk us about your restarts, because you seem probably to be one of the best drivers on the restarts, especially at the end. You kept passing drivers immediately on, nearly a lap or two after the caution came out. That got you quite a few spots to get up to second. How were you able to pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was able to get about a car every restart at least, even up at the front. And I just knew that, I had so limited time because I was still going for the win in my head, and I think I could have got there maybe if there wasn't a couple of yellows at the end. But yeah, I don't know. I just knew I had to be aggressive, and I knew, I guess I'd maybe just have more experience. I don't know on how to get a good jump, and then I kind of figured out early in the race where to set my tools in traffic for the first lap to be aggressive, and I basically wasn't afraid of crashing. So.
Oh, fantastic. You definitely put on a show for us up in the booth. We love seeing you make those moves out there. But solid run for you up into second place, Adam. Thanks for talking to us, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just want to thank organizers for putting on the league and y'all for calling the race. And yeah, it's good to be back on some TV.
All right, we'll see you around. And last but certainly not least, we're going to talk to our race winner, second time for the season, 2 in a row. Brandon Trano finishing out 2024 with a victory. Trano, we saw out there pretty much similar to last week, a fairly easy day in the office for you.
I wouldn't say easy. I think Adam and Alex definitely had probably a slightly better car than we did. We just kind of got lucky with some yellows and some pit strategy, but yeah, I mean, you could say it was easy in the middle part of the run. It was playing out pretty simple for us. But once the caution started coming out is when it kind of shook things up. And yeah, it would have been interesting to see how the last couple laps went once Adam got to second. I was really struggling through 1 and 2, where I think he was better, and then I think I was better at the other end of the track than he was. So unfortunately, we had so many yellows to kind of not really get a good finish, but happy with another win for the team.
Yeah, definitely another solid win, and obviously looking forward next week to the Indianapolis Road Course. Well, sorry, next race in a couple weeks' time to the Indianapolis Road Course. How are you feeling about your performance at that track?
Yeah, I'm excited. That's one of my better road courses. One of the more flowing ones that we go to. That's really easy to get into a rhythm. So excited to see how it plays out, and yeah, hopefully get another win and continue to stretch the championship lead.
All right, well, Brandon, another very solid result for you. Congratulations on your second win of the season, and we'll see how you do in next year, essentially, in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for talking to us. All right, with that, it's going to be wrapping up interviews here from Gateway. Another fantastic bout of racing. Got to say, these guys always manage to put on a show. I thought we were going to see a lot of passing, but we honestly saw our fair bit.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of a chaotic race in a lot of ways. I mean, we really were only straightforward for maybe 40 or 50 laps of this race. We obviously had the first run, and then after that, we saw Blocker and Vanis on a different strategy. That got split up. And then we had a pretty long run where things were kind of settling into place. And then the yellow happens when people are pitting. And then it really got crazy from there. The field got jumbled up, had a lot of different drivers at the front and a lot of other drivers not having the same luck. And just a lot of frantic racing in the last half because of where the yellows were falling. But at the end of the day, it was kind of all that for a Brandon Treno victory. Still very dominant, still very fast, led almost 100 laps once again. Very tough to beat him when he's at his best once again. But a lot of good action, just a lot of solid racing. This track really doesn't disappoint when it comes to Indy cars. And it kind of surprises me too because, like you said, this is one of those tracks where you would think that maybe it's going to be too tough to pass out some action, but just not the case. This is a very, very racy track.
Very racy track, and you got some more racing, but not for a little while. They're going to be going on a break for the holidays, returning for this will be the last, effectively the last major race of the year for SimTV, coming back on January 5th, 2025 for the Grand Prix of Indy at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. But for now, my name is Finney Nakuna here with Connor Horn. We'll be signing out from SimTV. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be seeing you next year.